Hello and welcome back to the Weekend Spread. Folks, we've been through the rocky road of the offseason, and we have finally arrived here at week 0, and we're met with an absolute creamer of a slate here. I'm excited to get to picking, boys. You know, the offseason, it's full of conversations about realignment and, you know, how do we add or change the playoff, all of these, you know, strength of record, all of this garbage. But now we can finally talk about the reason and the thing we love most about this sport. It's the actual sport. It's the games. We have games this weekend. I can't wait to talk about them. I'm your host, Bobby Howard. With me, as always, our esteemed panel of pickers. We've got Jameson Maxwell, the captain, Boat and Blake, and the returning champion, Ty Lee, back at it again. If this is your first time tuning into a Weekend Spread, welcome. This is a podcast we do every week during the college football season where we make our predictions of some of the biggest games from the SEC, Big 12, and around the country. And we keep score. It's a lively competition, an exciting competition. And I think overall we've done pretty decently well for ourselves. So you look, if you're watching live on YouTube, you can see some of our standings. Most of us are pretty near 500 overall. Last year was a little rocky, but we're pretty good at picking, folks. So, Blake, I'll let you open this thing up. How excited are you for the start of another college football season and another picking season for you?
So pumped. Around this time of year, this is when I really start getting just kind of a little bit upset, a little bit angry. I'm just tired of all the previews. I've heard the same previews of the same teams for about a month now. There's nothing more to talk about. If anything, what's frustrating me is teams I've been gassing up like Auburn last week are coming out and just having a PR disaster class for the last week and just ruining all my great analysis, my great thoughtful analysis that I put time into. But I'm just ready to see some football be played. Like, I'm just so excited. I think we talk about it each year. Week 0 is perfect. It's not an appetizer. It's more of an hors d'oeuvre per se, or a small bite. It gives you just a little bit, but it gets you wanting more for the real slate that comes week 1. So super pumped to watch the Ireland game. Also some of these other narby little games at the end of it. I think this is a perfect, this is exactly what you want out of a week 0 slate. No complaints here, but just ready for some football.
I mean,
Jameson?
I cannot believe Blake just said that he had great takes earlier. One was flamed on the spot and then therefore got pie in his face and continues to call them great takes. Man, that's revisionist history right there, brother.
No, Auburn has something special about them. I'm still sticking by. I think maybe we've hit a critical mass of how many play callers can be involved with quarterback combinations that
you can't say much worse.
You were just looking on paper, and you're missing the garbage that was underneath said paper.
Blake, we'll talk about your
I did not expect them. I did not expect them to claim 4 national titles just out of the blue. I did not expect that to happen. That one could not be predicted.
Some would say 7 out of those 4.
Sorry.
Like they have a couple dodgy ones. I've heard 4. I don't know the title count. It's weird. Ty,
it was 4 new, brand new ones that they've never ever claimed.
Shout out Lord King Big Nuts in the chat too. We love you, bro.
Yes,
we love you.
Thank you, buddy. We're back. We are back. Ready to get the spread going, everyone. Ty, what were you saying? I apologize.
Oh, I was just saying, Blake, we can talk about your playoff prediction at the end of the pod, but for now, keep the Auburn talk to a minimum.
Oh, we'll have plenty of Auburn talk next week on when we talk about week 1. But boys, do we want to just dive into the slate here? Any college football thoughts before we kick this thing off?
Just give it to me, baby. Just give it. Come on. We need it.
Yeah.
No more waiting. It's time.
Yeah. Ty going for another championship here. So let's get that ordering going. So Ty's leading us off here as the defending champion. Bowden Blake finished second, so he's going to be picking second. I was third last year, and Jameson in last, which, by the way, I don't think he ever did the punishment.
I don't even know
what
what it
was
was.
the punishment.
It was it was raw dogging a flight simulator or something like that.
No,
Or
we didn't even determine that because it was going to be like raw dogging at college football Saturday was another thing.
Yeah,
too.
no, it was you had to do a NFL red zone without checking your phone for like an entire day, and you couldn't.
That sounds just healthy. Like that,
But you
just
couldn't have
sounds
food or
healthy.
water. Yeah, that's actually
Obviously-
that's not actually a good
I
one.
do that. We never came up with a good punishment.
I don't know if we can retroactively put a punishment down. I kind of think we should because I mean Ty had to do the 999. Like some of us have. That's a good point.
I did.
You didn't finish. You attempted it.
I had to eat 7 hot dogs at an OU game, and then I had to go home and
very
pack food.
lukewarm.
I'll
Very
eat 7 hot
lukewarm.
dogs right now. If you want me
It's not
to
a
eat
great-
7 hot dogs, Bobby, I'll eat 7 hot dogs.
That's why we can't do 999 with you, Jameson. That just sounds like a good time. For you.
They actually at my work tomorrow are grilling hot dogs for us, and I will be eating a hot dog for lunch. Maybe I could
Lord.
speed dog it.
I think you should startle your coworkers by speed dogging it.
They've seen me speed dog before. It's okay.
I think the punishment should be you have to pocket one of the dogs, and then when you go in and see a patient, sit down and like greet them, and then go, "1 moment, please." Step out into the hallway with the door open while you're still in the doorway. Speed dog, come right back in, sit down like nothing happened.
Sir, are you hiding a hot dog under your mask? Oh,
Man.
Okay. Well, all right. Let's get this thing started. With our first game, we're not going chronologically at all because we don't want to start with the best game is at 11 a.m. So we're just kind of going to go by desiredness, and we're going to kick off with the Sam Houston Bearcats, 10-3 last season, 7-6 against the spread. They're heading to Western Kentucky, home of the Hilltoppers, who went 8-6 last year, 7-7 against the spread. Western Kentucky in Big Red, favored by 10 here at home. This is a 6 p.m. Central kickoff on CBS Sports Network. Ty, what are your thoughts on this game?
Yeah, this is a conference matchup as well. So shout out to both of these CUSA teams. This will be counting against their conference standings. I know we didn't do a CUSA standalone preview pod, but we sure wanted to. We sure wanted to. Yeah, I don't have a ton of thoughts on this one. Western Kentucky -10. Some places, if you like Western or if you like Sam Houston, I will say because we don't have a gambling sponsor currently. I know we did in the past, but some places you can find 10.5. So I would definitely look around on this one. The line is not uniform across the board as of right now on Wednesdays. We're recording this, but I was going to take Western Kentucky 10.5. So for sure, go ahead and give me Western Kentucky -10.5 in this one. Really don't have a whole bunch of thoughts.
Yep, I am going with Toppy, one of the best logos. I think probably the best logo in college football with Big Red right there. But this is just kind of a play of Sam Houston State losing their head coach last offseason, losing a lot of depth from that roster. They really overperformed last year. Like they only had, I think it was like 3 road losses against good quality opponents. But I think this team is going to be a little downtrodden. We've seen Sam Houston in the past before last year just kind of be meh in CUSA, whereas Western Kentucky feels like it's always on top. And speaking of on top, I'm going with Toppy. Give me the Western Kentucky.
I have a rule on weekend spread where if I see Western Kentucky and Toppy and that little Big Red logo, which, definitely is not their official logo, but I am the graphic designer here and I get to make all of those decisions. And in my mind, that's our main logo. If I see Toppy, I'm taking Toppy. With all due respect to Sam Houston here. Rolling with Western Kentucky -10. This could be a bit of a dicey sweat. Who knows? But I like the Hilltoppers here.
Yeah. Trust me. I wanted to pick Sam Houston very badly because that was a team that looked very good last year. And I started to key in on them because they took Boko down at the beginning of the season. Texas State appearance already early in the podcast. And honestly, was really impressed. They have a returning quarterback too, who was a guy who was scrappy enough and they put up good points. But if you look at Western Kentucky's roster top to bottom. It's just way more talented. Home game, and we see a lot in these week 0 games, is it's really hard not to ride with the home game in week 0/1. So I'm going to pick home team to cover the spread here in Western Kentucky.
There you go. All right, so it's a sweep for Western Kentucky, the Hilltoppers. Let's move on to our next game. In what's become a bit of a week 0 staple, the Hawaii Rainbow Warriors back on week 0, 5-7 last year, 7-5 against the spread. They're hosting Stanford, who have seen better days. They were 3-9 last year, 5-7 against the spread in year 1 in the ACC. And look, this was a line that when I saw it kind of made my eyes pop out a little bit, because I know people are big on Hawaii when they're on island, but Hawaii's favored in this ball game by 2.5. You can find this one 6:30 p.m. Central on CBS or Paramount Plus. Jameson, who do you like?
Give me fade Hawaii on island. Now, is that treason? Maybe. But I like to live dangerously. I do like to live dangerously. Give me Stanford to start off the year with a win.
Well, I mean, surely this team's going to have jet lag as they play on the Atlantic Coast Conference, and that's a long way to go from the Atlantic Coast to Hawaii. But no, real talk. Stanford to me is a program that I feel like I don't know if the university really cares that much about football anymore. The investment from those glory days that we saw, with Toby Gerhart and Christian McCaffrey, I don't know if those are ever going to come back. And I think, to me, when you see a line like Hawaii minus 2.5 at home, a Hawaii team that, I mean, some of those lines just a couple years ago were, shockingly bad at home. Like, I think their Vanderbilt line, that like a bad Vanderbilt team was favored to beat them by a good amount, and they absolutely did. To see a Hawaii team in a temporary stadium favored by 2.5 is startling, to say the least. The Rainbow Warriors had a pretty I know just 5-7, but a pretty decent end of that year for their previous standards. They've been an improving program. Look, that 2.5, that indicates that people smarter than me are pretty big on Hawaii. I'm going to go with Rainbow Warriors to take care of the island and get a win here.
Yeah, I'm going against the old adage and joining Jameson. I think Stanford, this one's a really hard game to choose because Hawaii did end the year very well, and I like their quarterback, Micah. I think his name's Micah Lito, little scrappy guy, can run a little, I like Hawaii's offensive system, but Timmy Chang still hasn't been able to get consistent results out of this team. And Stanford, although a absolute dumpster fire, you had two of your quarterbacks that played for you last year entered the transfer portal, one being Ashton Daniels, who we'll probably see play for Auburn a little bit this year, and then another guy, and then your 4-star freshman coming in, Bear Bachmeier, transferring to BYU and then making the starting job there. They're just kind of in QB hell right now, but you get the interim coach in Frank Reich and the support, I guess, now of Andrew Luck being the general manager. Maybe it sparks something in this program that just their 4 wins this year would be fantastic for them. That would show to me that things are actually going in the right direction, just because this team was absolutely abysmal last year. They couldn't play offense very well. They couldn't run the ball. Their leading rusher was their quarterback. They couldn't stop a nosebleed on defense. Like, they were just abysmal. So if they're able to put some of these games together, that's a sign, I think, trending in the right way. But honestly, I think these teams are probably pretty similar talent-wise. So give me the points with Stanford and just hope that kind of like having a P5 talent pool helps them.
Yeah, this should be no surprise. I've been talking to you guys the whole off season in our group text about how big I am on this Hawaii team. I don't know why. There is no necessarily concrete evidence to support this, but I am so big on Hawaii. So 2.5, right? Or maybe we're getting a little aggressive. I know they've been doing a big PR push in the media with their new stadium and everything else. So Maybe some of that is baked in, especially as we're coming off the offseason. So there's so many hype storylines that are affecting a lot of these lines. But I don't know. I'm big on Hawaii. So go ahead and give me the Rainbow Warriors -2.5.
All right. So a split on Stanford and Hawaii. Let's move on to our next game. It's the Fresno State Bulldogs, 6-7 overall, 7-6 against the spread last year. They're heading to Lawrence, Kansas to take on the Jayhawks, who went 5-7 last year overall and against the spread. Kansas making their grand return to David Booth Memorial Stadium, where like 60 some odd % of it has been renovated. Kansas favored by 12 here is the line we got when we locked these lines. In some markets, it's, I believe, risen to 13. You can find this one, 5:30 p.m. Central on Fox. Ty, who do you like?
Yeah, real quick reminder for everyone listening. Performance against the spread is not how good a team is. It's just how good Vegas understands handicapping these teams. I love Kansas -12 in this one. Yeah, I say just as a general rule, you fade anyone with state in their name that's not a state. So Fresno State is not, in fact, a state. So go ahead and give me the Jayhawks. Shout out to Jason Bean, RIP. He will be missed, and we hope he is resting easy wherever he is. He is
very much not dead.
You never know.
Is Bean still in the NFL, Jameson?
There's some time before this podcast posts.
I think it's a Colts, right?
Oh, he's on the Colts. He's good as dead. But anyways, I'm kidding. Blake, who do you like?
Wait, their quarterback room is Jason Bean and AR-15.
And Daniel Jones.
Oh,
Daniel Jones, the starter.
Jason Bean does not make the 53 man, but I mean he plays on their preseason team.
Didn't he have a feisty preseason game last year too, Jameson?
Yeah, there was some hype where I was like, "Oh my god, can Jason Bean be something?" And I was like, "What?"
He surprised us before, but
yes, but like many things, Jason Bean surprised us, but disappointed us more than surprised us. He would just sprinkle in the surprises to get our hopes back up, kind of like Jameson's obsession to Boko. He'll give him a win every once in a while to get Jameson back into the program, and then they just fall off a cliff. But there is a tried and true principle that I will stand on, and that is Jalen Daniels loves to dodge legitimate competition and ball out against really bad competition. And people get him hyped because of that. And that is what I see here. Jalen Daniels is going to go off, especially new stadium, first home game there. I think they're going to be packing out that place, which is odd considering Kansas teams in the past. But Jalen Daniels, I feel like, is just going to have one of those games that reminds us that, yes, he is very good against bad teams, but then we'll have a mystery back injury 2 weeks into the Big 12 slate. So I'm going to take Kansas here. I think Fresno State is a decent G5 team, but losing Mikey Keene, Jameson's guy, in the offseason, and now bringing in EJ Warner from Temple, it just feels like Fresno State, where they used to be a mainstay in the G5 when they could keep some of these guys, like it's just been absolutely decimated in the transfer portal era. They just feel like all these G5 teams are kind of on the same level now just because any of their elite talent leaves. So Kansas has something. They lost a lot, though. They lost a lot. Like they're going to fall off, not like a cliff, but they're not going to be very good come Big 12 time. So give me Kansas in this game to beat up on just like an inferior Bulldog squad.
I'm still pretty overall high on Kansas. I really like Leipold. I like Daniels. I think I've said this in previous podcasts, but I think the whole commuting to Kansas City thing was probably trickier than, than I think some of us let on probably thought. It's a Kansas team that really found their footing last year towards the end, weren't able to make that mad rush for a bowl game, but they got close. They had a couple big games in there. I think it's a refocused team. I think it's a team with a lot of energy. Like you said, Blake sold out David Booth for this one, which is very impressive for this program. I think this one might be one, if you're thinking it's going to be a breeze, I don't think it is, but I think Kansas covers. So I'm in on the Jayhawks here. It's going to take some time to kind of get some of the offensive system together. You lost Devin Neal, huge, great player for them. But overall, I think the Jayhawks have more than enough to get a comfortable win here in terms of the spread.
So Ty always likes to talk about hater picks, right?
Yeah.
Ty, you think that picking out of the hate in your heart is honestly the smarter thing to do to succeed in life?
It doesn't come from the heart. It comes from the mind. Because if you watch some of these people honestly, then you see that you should be hating them. But there are some quarterbacks out there, right? We're not going to name names, but maybe people who started at Clemson and then finished their career at Florida State, and people like Blake will try to convince you that they're good, and you know in your mind that they're not.
So Blake already mentioned him, Mikey Keene from last year in Fresno. I wanted to talk about this. Man sucks, and he's disappeared at Michigan. What do you know? And here's the thing, Ty.
Wait.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I have a quick question. Disappeared at Michigan, as in he transferred to Michigan and then has done nothing, or like he went to Michigan and is now like police are involved. We don't know where he is.
No, not the second one, but I mean, there's also like last I checked in on him, they weren't really know why he wasn't practicing, but maybe things have changed. I don't follow Mikey Keene Michigan news that closely, but I did check a couple weeks ago. But you say
he has Google alerts set for him.
You're the only person in the world besides Mikey Keene's family that is following that news.
But here's the thing, Ty. How do I correctly do the hater pick? Do I say, hey, I didn't think Mikey Keene was any good. He leaves Fresno, so therefore they will do better? Or do I say, you know what? Mikey Keene was still at Fresno, and I'm going to fade Fresno for punishing them, just for all of last season playing with Mikey Keene. What do I do? How does one make the hater pick there?
I don't know enough about Fresno to tell you.
I'm not picking Fresno. I can't do that. I can't do that. Please don't make me cheer for Fresno. And here's another weird thing, Bobby. You always say you're the graphic designer. Why didn't you put Daddy Longlegs Jayhawk here? Like, what the hell's going on? Like, if you're gonna give me Toppy, you're not gonna give me Daddy Longlegs Jayhawk. That was weird. As soon as I saw that, I was like, Bobby might be picking Fresno.
I only break them out for big occasions, special occasions.
All right, fair. I'm going to go Kansas because I truly just do not want to cheer for Fresno.
Shout out to Longlegs Jayhawk. Great logo.
Ty,
right.
Was that you who put this below my name?
No.
Mikey Keene Muse? No, that was me.
I actually don't know how to do that.
I don't think Ty's that smart to do that.
No, I think Bobby has taken those permissions away from me. Otherwise, you guys would be hearing more Feeding the Ducks song.
No, I just don't. Well, no, you clearly have it as you're playing Feeding the Ducks. Hold on.
Can you please take away Mikey Keene Muse from my @ sign below?
You don't like it?
I hate it.
I'm sorry for outing you as the owner and operator.
All I did was talk crap about
Mikey Keene Muse
last year.
I know it was a smokescreen.
I'm not going to root for this, but it would be very funny if Bryce Underwood could not play versus OU in that Michigan game, and Mikey Keene just comes in and lights OU up. I don't think Jameson would be able to handle that. I don't think he would be able to handle it.
Dude, I want Jaden Jackson just to absolutely just plummet him. Right up the middle, stuff him. Little old boy, Michael Keene.
You're just freaking out. Ashley's like, why did that get you so excited? You don't understand. All right, let's move to the other side of the Sunflower State, but in a very, very, very different location. It's our last game of this slate. It's the Kansas State Wildcats, 9-4 overall, 4-9 against the spread. It's Farmageddon in Ireland. They're taking on the Iowa State Cyclones, who were 11-3 last year, 8-6 against the spread, a Big 12 championship participant. K-State favored by 3 over in the Emerald Isle. This is an 11 a.m. kickoff, 11 a.m. Central kickoff on ESPN. What? I say it like that all the time. It's a reference. Oh my God. Can I take my $5 away from my dono due to bloke's rudeness? Anyways, no, all sales final. Jameson, who do you like in this game?
This is going to be a really, really fun game to watch. Trust me, as I was the earliest adopter in terms of supporting Rocco Becht, and now everyone's on that train. Let it be known, I was the earliest adopter. Blake is rolling his eyes right now. Look at him. Look at him roll his eyes. Say something about that, Blake.
Because, yes, you were on that train early, but he was so bad at the beginning. Just so bad.
But I saw potential.
And he put it together last year, finally.
Hey. I saw potential. I saw what could be. Whenever everyone was hating him as bad, I saw, you know what, this guy's got an edge to him. Here's the thing. He lost a couple of his weapons. And I think Kansas State just has a little bit more weapons around a guy that maybe we weren't as happy with last year in Avery Johnson. But putting like Dylan Edwards in the running back room, what they can do, if they can really utilize his speed and his ability to catch the ball in the backfield and run the ball, like he can be an absolute weapon for people. I think with the offseason, Avery Johnson with a year under his belt of being that guy and can get some of those first year jitters out, I think we'll start to see more from him in terms of what he thought he was going to be last year. Close game, give me Kansas State by 4 points.
Yeah, I mean, this is, I think this is probably, without a doubt, the best week 0 Ireland game we've ever gotten. It's the first time we've gotten two ranked teams in this matchup ever, like both on the, that's, I think, impressive. It's the first time, the Big 12 has had a serious matchup like this in Ireland. Well, but to me, I feel like this is going to be a tight, really good, really good football game. I like Kansas State's weapons a bit more. I think the coaching matchups like pretty even. But to me, I just feel like down the stretch, I'm going to go with Avery Johnson, going to go with Dylan Edwards, and I think Kansas State gets it done. I wouldn't be surprised if this flipped the other way, but I have a brand to uphold, which is being way too big on K-State, and I have to uphold that brand. So K-State gets the win, gets the cover, but it's going to be a banger of a game. That's going to really, I think, really help indicate what happens with the Big 12 going forward, which is a pretty wide open conference, but wouldn't be shocked if we saw this game in Arlington.
I would be shocked, dude. Stop that. Don't slide that in at the base. These teams, Iowa State's mid at best, and K-State has a little bit of a ceiling, but I think I was similar to how Jameson was with Rocco Becht. I was with Avery Johnson, and man, was I wrong. That guy stinks. Flat out can't throw, can't play. I thought they were going to take a significant leap when you're taking over Will Howard at Kansas State, who I think was completely lacklustered as well. This is a gross matchup in my mind. I see two offenses that have some obvious flaws that with, I guess, better quarterback play in the Big 12. And then the defenses are lacking a little bit on K-State. They were not able to really do anything against the pass last year. Kind of like Iowa State's front four. I think I'm going to go Iowa State. I think this is going to be just a back and forth game. Going to be weird. I don't know. I can't trust K-State. I don't trust K-State this year. I just don't think Avery Johnson takes that next step. They never utilized his legs last year, so I don't understand why they're just going to start doing it this year. Rocco Becht, yes, Jameson has been correct in a sense that he has taken that next step. This guy in close games at the end of last year was a magician. He was awesome. So if this thing's close in Ireland, I trust Rocco Becht way more than I do Avery Johnson. So give me Iowa State.
Yeah, can I just say, is calling a game in Ireland Farmageddon, is that not a little culturally insensitive? But
that's fair. I mean, it was already Farmageddon before it went to Ireland. It's just a little unfortunate.
Yeah, but I don't know. Well, I do know. I don't know why I'm acting like I don't know. This is so easy. This is the fumbler fumblers is coaching in this game. And no, I'm not talking about Lincoln Riley in the playoffs. I'm talking about Matt Campbell, who had very serious NFL job offers many years ago when he was at his peak and did not take them. Maybe if he continues to stay at Iowa State, because the state of Iowa never fires head football coaches, maybe in the long run it will pay out, but he is still in the negative in terms of opportunity cost for income for not taking those NFL jobs. So I personally do not believe in Matt Campbell getting it done in Europe. I don't think he can get it done. Like, he can't get it done here. He's not going to get it done in the EU, where they're presumably going to tax him even more, and there's going to be all sorts of environmental regulations on their farm. So go ahead and give me the Kansas State little purple Cowboys to take the win in Ireland. The people will be celebrating in the streets. I'm sure the Irish will be very confused as to who all of these people are that are visiting their wonderful city of Dublin. But yeah, I like K-State in this one.
I just like that K-State and Iowa State fans get to just travel Dublin and be very confused why there's no Busch Light, and just despise Guinness. The which is kind of the opposite of Busch Light. It's good and not Busch Light.
Yeah, I almost feel like they'll be thinking that Guinness is all there is, and it might annoy the locals who may have like other beers, that they'll go into like some local brewery and then ask for a Guinness. They'll be like, I don't know, be like going in like Prairie or somewhere in OKC and asking for like a Coors Light or something.
Which is a thing that does happen. All right, moving on to our next category. We are not going to do college football playoff picks because everyone forgot, which is fine.
Or just do a quick off the horn. Who do you have in your national championship? Who do you think wins? Just match up. We don't have to go full brackets. Just
natty predictions. Like who?
Yes.
Okay, sure. Ty, who do you have in the? Ty, do you want to go first on this one? Who do you have in the national championship?
Give me the Oregon Ducks beating the Georgia Bulldogs.
Oh, Lord. All right. We don't need to justify.
I know Blake's gonna go after me and be like, I think Texas A&M can get it done against Penn State. So
no,
like you guys are acting like Oregon's more absurd than Penn State.
Or Penn State has actually won a natty before. That's the thing about Oregon, is they can't win natties.
You don't have to win a natty to have a natty anymore, as Auburn and Alabama and UCF and Tennessee have proven. So Oklahoma State as well. We cannot forget them.
Blake, who do you like?
So I am going to elicit probably a similar reaction from Ty as we to his predictions, but I have Bama Penn State in the national championship. Two of the best teams. I think
with interim head coaches, maybe?
No, dude. Kalen DeBoer and Ryan Grubb are going to be cooking with that offense this year. And then I think James Franklin. Like, that's the thing is coaches always haven't won the big one till they won the big one. People were saying about Ryan Day last year. He finally did it. People were saying about Dabo. He did it. I think
no one has ever said that Ryan Day is James Franklin level, just to be clear.
No, but like they were calling for his head and saying he wasn't a competent head coach that could actually lead Ohio State anywhere because of his losses to Michigan. And I understand that's still bad, but a national championship does help that rivalry loss. But no, I think these two teams are two of the best rosters in the nation. Penn State especially, I think, is the best roster in the nation. I think they are loaded with senior talent. Drew Aller, I don't even think has to be like super fantastic this year in order for this team to
talk about
succeed.
A guy you've hated for a while.
I know, but I've started to soften my stance on him a little bit just because he's had no wide
Soften your
help.
stance. You're saying he's going to be a college football playoff championship winning quarterback.
Yes, but
I wouldn't call that softening your stance.
Will Howard won a national championship.
That is true.
And, like, it's...
But also,
can
I name Will Howard's wide receiving core?
Yes, yeah, that's... But
right.
That's what I'm trying
Jeremiah
to say.
Smith, Emeka Egbuka.
Yeah.
Come on. Like...
I will say, like, Penn State this year isn't reaching to that level, but I think Drew Aller's a better quarterback, and I think they have improved in the portal with that. I think they've gotten some studs there that he actually has wide receiver help for one of the first times in his entire career. I know Tyler Warren was a big piece in it last year, but I don't know. I just feel like you are limited when you have a gadget guy tight end being your top receiver, but 2 great running backs, good defense as always. I think Penn State wins the national championship. Beats Bama.
They finally do it. Damn. Wow. Man, I haven't given thought to the progression of it. I've only had thoughts to like the 1 through 12. So I'm going to go with LSU, who I have winning the SEC. I've already said that in a previous podcast. Let's go with LSU and LSU Ohio State. I know Ohio State obviously breaking in a new quarterback. I don't know. I think that team is just stacked with talent, and I think they'll find a way to get back. I think they'll get hot at the end. That's kind of my trend on that. And I think LSU, best team in the SEC. I think they'll be able to fight through it. I'm trending LSU here. I don't know. I think college football is in a place that is more open than it's ever been. I think that's evidenced by people having Penn State as high as they are, because Penn State is one of the most talented teams in college football. And that's the world we're living in, where Penn State definitely could make that run. So it ain't gospel, but that's who I got. I got LSU.
Give me Alabama. Give me Ohio State. I'm picking Alabama to win it.
I cannot wait for week 7 when Jameson and Blake's championship game picks are exploded by Kalen DeBall not nowhere.
Lord.
I mean, Blake picked Penn State to win it. I picked Alabama to win it. I think Alabama is the 4 seed and goes through the tournament.
So let's get into our last part, which is our wild card. We always pick it, or not always, but starting last year, we started picking an over-under that we track throughout the year. It counts as an extra pick in our weekend spread. And we're going to go a little wonky here. Blake, since we're talking about Alabama, who do you have as your favorite over-under?
Who does he have?
Yep. So this one feels like easy money, and it's actually not one of those win totals. Like, the thing I hate about win totals now is they're so heavily bet, so heavily juiced, that it's like anytime you feel like you have an edge, you go check the sports book and it's like minus 160. You should not be locking up your money on like minus like 160 odds. But this is one that I found, FanDuel minus 110. And it is Bama over 9.5 wins. So the breakdown of this, I think they're just way more talented this year. The quarterback is definitely a question, but whoever they end up choosing, I believe they chose Ty Simpson, is going to be better than Jalen Milroe in the system. Jalen Milroe was never meant to be a Kalen DeBoer quarterback. He can't throw. He's too dual thready. And the bringing back Ryan Grubb, who was, if you didn't know, Kalen DeBoer's offensive coordinator that has just kind of followed him throughout his coaching career, went to the Seattle Seahawks last year, now back at Alabama to join DeBoer. And so Kalen DeBoer has basically won everywhere he goes. I think he gets that second year bump. Yes, Ty's questioning, but yes, Kalen DeBoer has been a very successful football coach wherever he's gone. They have the best, I think probably they've been recruiting the last 4 or 5 years, the best in the SEC. And when I look at their schedule, I have only 3 toss-up games on the schedule. 2 of them I think they're going to be favorites in. So if they could just go 1 and 2 in those toss-up games, I already cash. I said last week, I think they're going to beat Georgia at Georgia. But yeah, really the only games I'm worried about on their schedule is Georgia, LSU, Auburn, just because of the rivalry factor. And I think they can win at least 2 of those. So Bama over 9.5, I think better than their SEC odds, just because there could be some crazy stuff at the end of the year with with how the tiebreakers turn out. But yeah, I feel very confident that floor is 10-2, ceiling undefeated.
Alabama's such a tricky team to me from last year, because at their best, they were, they beat Georgia. They had really good moments. They throttled LSU in Death Valley, but then you lose to Vanderbilt on the road, and Pavia, Magic, all of that, just completely lay an egg at Oklahoma, only get a field goal. So I don't know, that that makes me sweat a little bit because there are toss-ups, but there are also opportunities for Alabama to just completely blow it. And I don't know. I would be a little sweating with 9.5 that high. I still need to see it. I totally get the record of what he's done at other spots, but yeah.
I am Jalen Milroe's biggest hater. I think that guy's a complete and absolute.
There's your hater pick right there.
Like can't
There you
actually, like, he was never going to be a winning quarterback. I know he could win games for Alabama, but he was never going to be a winning quarterback.
All right. Speaking of hater picks, Ty, who do you have as your win total?
Yeah, just real quick to clarify, when Blake says Kalen DeBoer has won everywhere he's been, he means he's won the Pac-12 once, and that's it. That's the pinnacle of his college football production. So,
and he went to a national championship.
Where did he win a national championship?
With what he went to a national title with Washington.
Kalen DeBoer is amazing. He went to a national title with a Power 5 team.
That's
hard. It's Washington. That's difficult.
Coach won one.
With LSU.
With the most talented team we've probably ever seen on the field.
Kalen DeBoer had one of the best quarterbacks that college football has produced in the past 5 years on his team at Washington. And
he produced him at Indiana.
Yes.
I think the food in Indiana produced him because that is a ball nowhere state. But speaking of ball not nowhere states, when it comes to college football, not the NFL, we have the state of Pennsylvania. Shout out to our good friend Tyler, who is a Pennsylvanian for tax reasons, and also because he lives there, which is why that's for tax reasons. I have Penn State under 10.5. Let me read you their schedule. Yes. They have a talented roster. They are relying on freshman receivers, which can work in college football. Yes, that can work in college.
Like, they got 1 billion transfers.
Okay, we will see.
And Jim
I don't
Knowles.
think I have 1 billion transfers because there's less than 100 people on the roster. So, for clarification, we're not going to get into. Maybe Blake wants to talk about, visa programs. We're not going to talk about that here. Okay, that's for election season. But I think that Oregon has equal chance. I mean, I just said they win a national championship, which you guys put me on the spot for that. But they have to beat Oregon, Ohio State, and Indiana, and then also be perfect against everyone else they play, which is basically
what they do. That's what they do. They're perfect against the bad.
College football is changing. They got some crazies in there. They got UCLA, you never know. Iowa, you never know. Like Nebraska, even. What's his name could cook up a good team at Nebraska. I just think that, Indiana is going to take a step back probably. They're preseason 20 right now. But if they lose to Oregon and they lose to Ohio State, which all bits aside, I legitimately believe are better teams. I don't think Ohio State being better than Penn State. Well, it's probably 50-50, but I legitimately believe that there are 2 teams in their regular season that are better than them. And if they lose both those games, then they don't hit that over. So go ahead and give me Penn State under 10.5 for mine. Yeah, it's a hater pick, but also I feel like it's not that safe. And for me, I like to swing for the fences on these. I like to take some of the big lines early on, as you all will see when we get wild cards next week. And I like to take kind of a contrarian swing for the fences here. So Penn State under 10.5 wins.
My biggest thing with it is I feel like the schedule lines up super, super well outside of that game in Columbus. And I just don't see them losing at Happy Valley to some of these teams, with some of their tougher opponents. Maybe if it was flipped, I could see it. I don't know. I think the schedule's too cake. The team's too talented. And like Blake said, they clean up against bad competition. That's like their entire thing.
If you will afford me real quick, not to make light of having 2 preseason top 10 teams on their schedule, but their schedule playing preseason number 7, 3, and 20 is legitimately the hardest schedule that the Big Ten has given them. And I can't even remember how long. If you look up their schedule last year, it's absurd. And frankly, Franklin Pun intended. That was a strike. That was a strike.
Yikes.
Swing
Penn
and a
State
miss.
loses 2, if not 3 of these games, and is still easily in the playoff, especially with the new play. If they drop Ohio State could very easily be undefeated. Oregon's probably a 1-loss team going into the playoff. 3-loss Penn State is still an absolute shoe-in for the playoff. So it's a little absurd, but yeah.
Jameson, who do you got?
I wanted something weird this year, guys. We pick these ones that we've been talking about. I told y'all earlier that I wanted to find the next Jason Bean, the next quarterback that I wanted to latch onto, the Diego Pavia of New Mexico State, the Jason Bean of Kansas, someone I want to latch onto. And I thought, who's a weird school that maybe just a quarterback I've encountered at some point that I just have been really impressed with. And I was like, I don't really know if I've watched enough football from last year to remember many random quarterbacks that I didn't talk about on the pod. Then I thought about my online dynasty with the University of Florida and how I struggled hard versus the University of South Florida. And this quarterback was cooking me. And I was like, who the hell is this guy? Byram Brown. Byram Brown. I looked into this guy. I was like, who the hell is this guy? Last year got hurt, but 2 years ago, this guy was cooking. Dual threat quarterback, 11 touchdowns on the ground, 26 through the air, 3,300 yards. Absolute beast. Now a senior. And South Florida's schedule is pretty easy, when they get into conference play. And their non-con's going to be kind of hard, but what's going to happen is they get Boise State at home, win that game, put them on notice, and put Byram Brown on the map. All they got to hit is 7. Give me South Florida to hop on as my new team this year, baby. Let's go.
Byram Brown is stinky.
He's
was not good.
He's not stinky.
2 years ago, he was good. He was not good last year. The few games he played,
he got hurt. He got hurt. We're going to throw out.
But even in the games he played, he barely threw over 200 yards each game. He's so bad.
He's not so bad. He's good.
No, this is good, Jameson, because you got catfished by one good season, which is your data point that gives you the hope just to be disappointed about 10 or 11 times in a row, and then he'll give you one performance. Do they play any good P5 competition? Because I feel like
Florida.
They play,
because
I feel Florida and Miami.
He's gonna go
both on the road.
He's gonna throw 3 touchdowns, a little over 300 yards versus Miami. They lose by 17, but they were feisty in the first half, and Jameson's gonna be bought back in. He's gonna put up some stinky results, but
he doesn't realize you're riding with Florida Tulsa right now.
Florida Tulsa.
Which the Golden Hurricanes would make much more sense as a team name for.
USF is plus 6.5 right now versus Boise. Slam that. that.
No.
This is going to go sideways quick, man. I love it.
Hey, y'all pick all these familiar teams that everyone knows. You pick SEC and Big Ten. You're scared to get down into the dirt and roll around with the pigs. Come on, give me some USF.
No, because
we don't believe in the golden Brahmin.
I will not be accused of cowardice by undering what many people have as the national champion this year.
Remember when South Florida put Alabama through 3/4 of hell?
This is what I'm telling you, Jameson. It's one data point that gives you.
Don't look at the fourth quarter.
And Vegas doesn't look at a game and be like, "Oh, well, you know what? They tried really hard. We're going to count this as a win."
But those first 3 quarters were South Florida, Alabama. That got dicey.
But they don't add 0.75 for that.
Hey, I'm saying is all they got to get to 7 wins, baby.
It also needs to be said that Bobby has tied his fate to Jackson Arnold once again.
Well, but in a reverse way.
The funniest thing possible.
So my pick, I have Auburn under 7.5. And here's my thing on this. So I've had Auburn under 7.5 for a while here, but because I've been fading Jackson Arnold, there's a reality that I've just kind of started worrying about where Jackson Arnold is so bad that he gets benched, and whoever fills his place ends up being better, and this entire fade gets screwed up. And I don't know how to feel about it. I will also acknowledge the funniest scenario possible is both Blake and I's total gets killed on the last game of the season in the Iron Bowl. If Kalen DeBoer loses to this Hugh Freeze Auburn team, Blake, you somehow both of us aren't going to hear the end of it. So, but to me, I feel like the Freeze era is probably coming to an end here. I don't like what's going on there. It seems like a total mess. 3 quarterbacks, 3 play callers, apparently. It just, the display, as Blake mentioned at the top of the show, where they're claiming random national championships, they're retiring jerseys. Who knows what stunt they're going to throw out next? I don't really know. But it's all a distraction to the fact that I think this team is going to be really, really not good this season.
When you say that they're thawing on Freeze, is that like an on-the-field performance thing, or is this like a carbon emissions?
That's funny.
Don't laugh.
I'm sorry. I as a host, I feel like a natural. I have to laugh. It's kind of funny. Thawing on Freeze is funny. Okay, well. All right, so those are all of the predictions we have this week.
Blake, do you have anyone dirty? Do you have any like a dirty over in like a really, really like not known school or low end conference?
Jameson, please play your pot of greed for an over.
I need to find just a dirty team this year because like the issue is with the transfer portal is I fall in love with certain G5 teams and then just everybody leaves and it just doesn't feel the same. And so I've had a really hard issue trying to keep up. Like it's already a lot to keep up with Power 5 teams these days with how many people are moving, let alone when it's G5 schools that are getting tons of transfers that are probably from even smaller schools, FCS, D2, D3, that you've just never heard of. And so, yeah, I need to go back to the drawing board. I need to figure out like a CUSA team or one last ride with the Mountain West or something like that. Find a dirty one there because like I think UNLV is going to be pretty good in the Mountain West this year. Like that's always kind of my go-to team, but like Dan Mullen's a smart coach, and I feel like if you're a smart coach in G5, you're gonna perform relatively well, even if you don't have like elite talent. So I need to come up with one because that's probably who I'm going to be selecting like wild card week 1. I got to find the dirtiest team out there.
Austin in the chat asked for the New Mexico win total line.
Dude, Devin Dampier's gone, right? He's at Utah now.
And the offensive coordinator that was with them.
Mm.
And their quarterback left. Or not the quarterback, sorry, their head coach left to go to Utah State. So
their win total on, I can't tell what book this is. It's 3.5, and it's juiced to plus 120.
Interested?
Yikes! That's
New Mexico. New Mexico has good vibes. No, New Mexico has good vibes. They have
Idaho's old coach is there now. The Vandals' old coach. I feel like, I don't know. We'll see.
No. Yeah. New Mexico has one of those like 30-something-year-old Australians with a whole family and stuff punting for them. That's good vibes.
That is good vibes.
I've seen him on social media. There's like a YouTube channel.
Oh, there you go. All right, that's all.
New Mexico is like cool. It's wholesome.
That sounds good. All right, that's all we have for week 0. Up next, we got a proper schedule with week 1. A couple games you can expect to see next week. Auburn at Baylor, Georgia Tech at Colorado, Texas, Ohio State, of course, Alabama at Florida State, LSU at Clemson, Virginia Tech, South Carolina, and Atlanta, Notre Dame, Miami in South Beach, Florida, Miami Gardens, whatever it's called. And then, of course, we're finishing this off with, we typically finish it off with an OU game, but this will be TCU at North Carolina on a Monday night. Got a nice full slate here to dive in. So really looking forward to a proper weekend spread. This was a nice little appetizer, nice little aperitif, but it's about to get fun. Illinois State.
Huh?
Illinois State.
The Redbird, or what are they? Cardinals?
The Redbird one. The Redbird one.
Okay,
they're not the. Yeah. Illinois State, right? Yeah,
it's a bird that's red. I don't know if it's a cardinal or it could be
Lord
a
have
bird.
mercy.
They are actually, there's an argument that could be made that Illinois State is better than Temple. Like they're like ranked 6th in the FCS.
Mm.
So OU should clobber them. But
why are y'all doing a home or away game at Temple? Who formulated this agreement? When was Temple good enough to do this?
They did a 2-1 with Temple primarily so they could have a game on the East Coast, I think, for alumni, that sort of stuff.
Hell yeah.
For the Jamesons of the world.
It's in Philly. Isn't it like is it at Temple or
is that no, it's at the Eagles Stadium is where
that's where Temple plays.
That's a neutral site.
No, Temple plays at Lincoln Financial.
They play there and they don't feel it worth crap.
We gotta stop this teams claiming stadiums that are not theirs as home stadiums. USC, I am looking at you.
Lord.
If your name is not on the deed, that's not your stadium.
I think we'd be surprised to see a couple stadiums like that. I don't know. But anyways, that's our show. Thank y'all. I don't even know what he's saying. Thank y'all so much for watching and listening. We really do appreciate it. We'll be on every single week to make our picks. And super happy college football is back, everybody. If you like the show, make sure to like it. Give it 5 stars if you're listening on your favorite podcasting app, and tell your friends. It's a good time. These bets these picks are fun, lighthearted. Always a good time. I like to say just some guys having some fun. Not specifically gambling advice, but always a good time, which always pisses Blake off. But anyways,
it's advice.
That's always advice. Well, that's all we have for this week's show. See you next time. And good luck out there.